Good morning, this is Robin Bieber on the Crude Spread Talk on the 6th of May at 7:15 in the morning, London time. The chart in front of us is June-July WTI and it's in an uptrend. It hit its target to the 55-day moving average, which would have been green lighted by moving over this brown line here, the 34-day. Hit its target yesterday to the 55, in fact it hit it the day before. And the move through there has given us a target to minus 107. This is valid whilst it remains for the moment above minus 218, the 55-day moving average. The stochastic is getting a little bit high, but there still seems to be the momentum higher. And providing we don't close below the 55 and the 5-day moving average, there's every chance of higher numbers. And if we just look at the 60-minute chart on this contract, it's beginning to look a little bit toppy for the morning, so don't be surprised if there's some correction back down to the 55 and 5-day moving averages around 235, 218 area. Now moving on to the July-August, also nice and strong, but it hit its target at the 50% correction point at 146 and has closed below. There's no further target unless it gets over 146, whereupon the target would become minus 124 the 55-day. It's running into a little bit of trouble here. The stochastic is positive and edging onto the high side. And if we look at the 60-minute chart, conversely, this 60-minute chart is beginning to look as if actually the dip back from the highs of yesterday is being absorbed, and we're likely over the next hour or two to push on higher. Now moving on to some back end stuff, the DEC June WTI over the 34-day, and whilst over the 34-day at minus 247, it has a target to 194. Its 5-day gap's a little bit wide, so don't be surprised by the 34-day being seriously challenged, maybe even the 21-day at minus 257, that sort of area. 247, 257 is the support zone, which needs to hold, or it probably dips back to 280. But I think there's a very good chance that this will hold, particularly if you look over here to the 60-minute chart. It's beginning to show signs of wanting to push higher, but it could ebb and flow a little bit this morning, so be a little bit careful. The red deck on WTI, perfect move from the 34 to the 55-day at minus 324. It's made a high at 325, which is good enough. No targets higher for the moment. Reasonable chance that it could easily dip back to the 34-day at minus 403. But at the moment it's cooling off, as you can see on the 60-minute chart to the left here. It's cooling off and it will find support between the 21 and the 34-day at minus 403 to minus 414 area. Only a move and close over minus 324, the 55-day would give it the next leg higher to minus 176. This will be a tough nut to crack, the 55-day, but if the flat price takes off, there's a reasonable chance of that occurring. Now moving on to Brent structure, the July-August Brent, whilst it's above minus 11, a key 50% correction point, it should head to minus 66. However, it's a little bit far from its 5-day moving average, so don't be surprised by a dip back to the 111 and even lower than that. The stochastic is getting a little bit on the high side. And the 60-minute chart, no real clues, suggesting some more upside from where we are now, but no strong indications from the 60-minute chart. And the AugSep, pushing higher, has a target to minus 81, the key 50% correction point. This is valid whilst it stays over minus 102, the 55-day, and it's a bit far from the 5-day moving average, so the 5-day gap's a little wide, so don't be surprised by a little bit of an attempt to pull back. The 60-minute chart here on this contract is not really giving us too many clues as of this morning. Now moving on to the further out stuff, the DEC June Brent, target higher to minus 211. This is valid whilst it stays over the 34-day at minus 259. There's no real clues from the 60-minute chart other than to say there probably should be a bit of a dip this morning from here. So don't be surprised by a move to narrow the 5-day gap, which is a little bit wide. And the red deck on Brent, target to the 55-day at minus 355. This is valid whilst it stays over the 34-day at minus 435. No real clues coming from the 60-minute chart other than to say it probably needs to soften a little bit more early this morning. But on balance, all structures in an uptrend. It might be getting a little bit tired, it might get erratic, but all structure is, as I say, in an uptrend, and I would expect after an initial dip today, higher numbers. That's all for today. Good luck, good trading, and bon appetit.